There's this really important thing that I have to share just so everybody has some context.
That's so funny.
The reason that I wanted to show that particular clip is because I think it shows a really true moment of the relationship that you were able to foster with me, understanding what made me tick, how I would best thrive. And I guess during your tenure as a college coach, especially with your goalies, can you talk a little bit about how important it is to find ways to motivate your goalies in a way that will help them feel seen, help them feel supported, while also recognizing that we're all a little weird and we all have different things that will motivate us. Sometimes you would literally bring me to McDonald's, like just little things that you kind of figured out what I needed, but that might be totally different from goalie X.
Well, for me as a head coach, you were the first goalie that I really was able to recruit and coach, somebody that I brought in. That was a big part of it because when I saw you play for the first time, I saw the energy that you had on the ice and just clearly the passion that you had and the fun that you were having out there. And like for me, I knew that as a coach, your team's energy is always feeds off their goalie.
Mhm.
You were very dynamic in that regard. I think you made plays exciting every single time, no matter if it was a small save or a big save or whatever. And I think you could really always tell that the team, their energy was always feeding off of your energy on the ice. And that's a two-way relationship, I think, with a coach
Mhm.
and a goalie. And if one side of it is not there, then it's going to be missing. And so I was feeding off of your energy, actually, and always kind of following your lead. But the excitement that you brought to the table got me more excited as a coach. And it just was very fun to be engaged with you because you were so engaged in the game, getting
Mhm.
better.
Yeah.
And you were always, wanting to be the best in every practice,
Mhm.
even in a stupid pregame skate like that video.
Right.
You were just so competitive.
Yeah.
And so I think because of that, it was a real good match with me because of my competitive nature and just allowing you to be you, I think was a big part of it.
Yeah. For sure. And something that I've chatted on some of my previous episodes about with like my dad and with Fred Quisgard is I don't know that people understand how talented you were as a goalie. And something that I'm really trying to accentuate is despite how talented you were as a goalie, since you were head coach, you were still able to see the value in saying, no, even though I know how to do this entire position, my focus is so much on forwards and D and all of those things that you still, even with all the knowledge that you have, brought in a goalie coach to work with your goalies. Can you talk about that a little bit? Because I think it's so important.
Yeah. I think very quickly I realized that in my position as the head coach of a program, there's just so many factors that go into play. And it's really hard as that person in that role to have the time and attention that a goalie needs to focus on them because of all the little things that you're focusing on that are happening, whether it be with the forwards, the defense, the team dynamics, personalities, and managing those. Really, you don't have enough time to be able to give to the goaltender that they need in their development and kind of just the engagement they need in an everyday facet because it's not just games, it's practices too. I mean, when you're watching drills as a head coach, you're watching just the dynamics of the team on the ice from many different angles, but you're not always seeing what is happening with the goaltender in the net during that practice. And so if you don't have somebody specifically dedicated to that one position, which is the most important position in the game, I mean, really it
Mhm,
is. If you
mhm,
don't have a good goaltender, you're never going to win games. I mean, that's just a fact.
mhm.
So to me, it was, why are we not putting more time into focusing on what is the most important position on the ice?
Mhm.
And knowing that I couldn't do it, it was super important to me because of my own experience. Yes, I had a couple different goalie coaches. I don't feel like I had enough time with those people. Even in college, it's always a part-time position, and we were really fortunate when you were, especially when you were at Saint Scholastica with me,
Yeah.
that I was able to have somebody that was going to be there every day.
Mhm.
And so I think that was a huge, huge benefit for you, and something that I really wanted to have happen for that position.
You put a lot of effort into video for me. And I think that sometimes people will be like, oh, there's Teray out on the ice with her camera again. And I'm like, no, what you don't understand is the value that the goalie seeing themselves and what they just did, the learning opportunity that comes from those situations. Can you talk a little bit about why? And I think coaches in general know that video is important. But
Yeah.
again, there are just so many nuances. I would say in any save that you're making or any goal that you're letting up, there's 20 different degrees of severity that you could pinpoint what you can talk to a goalie about in that
Mhm.
particular 6-second clip. Can you talk
Yeah.
about that a little bit?
For the video component, obviously, anytime you're able to watch yourself back, I mean, the professionals all do it, right? In golf and watching their swing and kind of just their positioning, and how things are striking the ball. So it's the same thing in hockey for a goalie. The timing of making that save. There's so many other nuances, whether you're deep in the net, you're out too far to make that second save, what kind of positions you're putting yourself in that regard. Maybe you're off your angle, but, and there's other things to consider, what was happening in those plays for the goalie too. Like, was it a 2-on-1 situation? I mean, there's so many multiple scenarios that you could be going through. So, the biggest part of it is, having that video for you to be able to help yourself in those scenarios when they occur in the future, and there's all these different things that you have to think about,
Mhm,
depending on what the play is that's happening. And
mhm.
so the more experience you get with watching yourself and kind of thinking through that, to make the improvements for the next times you're making those saves or in those situations is invaluable, because I can tell you all these things, but unless you're seeing it, it's not going to make a whole lot of sense. I mean,
Yeah,
it's like anything really. I mean, you can tell somebody, but it's hard to actually visualize that,
for sure.
without seeing it.
A lot of people be like, "They're just kids." Okay, and kids can learn like, it's just as valuable to a U9 kiddo as I mean, I'm not saying you have to do it to the umpteenth degree,
Yes.
but there's still value in it, and I feel strongly about that.
I suppose it would probably be more valuable for them than it even is for, older adults playing
Mhm,
hockey, or college kids, whatever you want to call them. Because, it's it, they understand different types of the languages in the hockey environment that you're
mhm,
talking about with regard to the game more than
mhm.
a 9-year-old would.
Absolutely. I agree completely. What kinda hockey are you watching these days?
Well, I have season tickets to the Badgers now that I live in Wisconsin. So I watch them. And then I watch, of course, our men's team for Wisconsin too, because when you're a Badger, everything's all Badger
Yep,
and you bleed red and white.
absolutely.
Um, and then I have been watching the NHL, but a lot of college mostly. I love watching college games because it's just
Yeah.
so true.
I think it's so slept on. Like, I think it's so awesome, and I actually just got confirmation today that I have 2 PWHL goalies that are coming on the podcast.
Yes,
So I'm so excited for
that's
that. It's gonna be
awesome.
so fun. How has it been for you since stepping away from the sport? And now that you're in like a full spectator role, you're not recruiting, you're not grinding, you're not trying to, do all the things that you used to do. What has that been like for you?
It took a while, honestly. It took a while for me to kind of get back into being able to watch it
Yep.
and be involved. I had to, just take a time out for a bit.
Mhm.
Just because I had a major life adjustment. It was my
Yeah.
life, it was my work life, it was everything.
Mhm.
And to really get engaged in what I'm doing now, it took some time for me to kind of really come back to it, but now I'm able to really appreciate kind of had, when I was coaching and enjoy watching the game again from, just a perspective. Obviously, I'm never going to be able to turn off that hat of, just kind of watching it from a coach's lens.
Mhm.
But knowing that I don't have to worry about it and, decisions that are being made and things like that, it has allowed me to really just enjoy watching the game again.
I have somebody coming on in the next couple episodes. Her name is Mac Mallet. She's from Maine. She played D3 hockey, and she went through this period, and I think still is in this period of really struggling with identity loss as an athlete.
Mhm.
And she's created a company called the Retired Athletes Club, and she
That's great.
donates a certain portion of her profit to like mental health, and then also just like this idea of identity loss for athletes. And I think that because we're so hyper focused, and I think, for you D1, for you being a D3 coach, all of these things, D1, D3, again, doesn't matter. Like, you can still have a very severe case of this identity loss. And I'm excited for her to come on to just talk about it. And it sounds like even from the coaching standpoint, you have this feeling of this identity loss when you dedicate your life to something and you care about something so much, and then it's just like flipped a switch. All of a sudden you've been replaced. There's another goalie in the net. There's another coach on the roster. Like,
Mhm.
those are hard things to grapple with. And it sounds like even from the coaching perspective, you're not immune to that when you do have that change.
Not at all. I mean, I would say it's almost like I had to do it twice because I had to do it as a college athlete and then, it was absolutely it was almost like a death.
Mhm.
Like I mean, obviously people are people and people dying is different, but it
Yeah.
it it is a big huge hole that occurs that you're not nobody prepares you for it.
Mm-mm.
And then it's gone and you
Yeah.
just it's like a death. I mean, it's
Yeah.
it's missing.
Yeah.
And so, I had to go through it, after I graduated from Wisconsin, and it is that weird year of where you're seeing somebody else that's in the position that you were
Yeah.
holding for so long, and you're not a part of that team anymore. And so there's that part of it. Not only is it the playing part that you now are missing, it's also the environment that you were in and that team atmosphere, the locker room, all those things that you get when you're a part of that team. And so you're now missing that. So that's a second thing. And then I had to go through it again as a coach because that was a part of my identity. It was a part of my
Yeah.
everyday life. And so when it was no longer there, it was like a death again. And then all of a sudden you're watching this team like
Yeah, and
move
not to
on without
interrupt
you.
you, but this is a team. So just so we're clear, um, the College of Saint Scholastica, the hockey program, Jackie was the first, like she built the program from literally the ground up. And so you were there for,
Oh geez, it was like 11, 12 years.
you're
I
right.
can't remember. Yeah.
So 11, 12 years,
Hmm.
and to walk away from that life, but also the program that she built from the ground up, it adds an even deeper layer, I would argue, to then see another coach kind of, being that person. And I won't lie, I even have a hard, like, I'll get emails like from alumni and I'm like, screw you. Like,
Yeah.
I'm like, it's not from Jackie, I don't want it.
Yeah.
And so it's just, there's so much passion, and some people it might not be as serious as, what I'm explaining or what you might be explaining. Some people
Mhm.
might just be like, it's just a chapter in your life. That's not my experience.
Yeah.
And for a lot of people it's not, and I think that that's okay. And I think the more people talk about it, the more supported and less alone people will feel. And like I feel attached to you in a sense that I do know that I was the first goalie that recruited. I still have the handwritten letter, like card that you wrote me when you wanted to, talk about me going and playing for you, and just all of those things. And I think that there's so many of us athletes that are no longer, actively playing. We're not active athletes anymore. You're my Jackie MacMillan. Other people have their own Jackie
Yeah.
MacMillan.
Yeah.
And like, I
Yeah.
think the more people understand that, like, you're not alone, the deep feelers about these sports and things like that, like, we're out here too. But I know how much I appreciate you and what you did for my career, and how much you built me up and surprised me with Big Macs and Sour Patch Kids and all the things that you knew made me tick. And I'm happy that, I graduated in 2013. We're moving into 2026, 13 years later. And, I'm still able to send you a text and have you hop on in between your work meetings. And I'm going to come bug you and watch the Badgers
Yeah.
play with
Yeah.
you in
I'm excited for
February.
that.
It's going to be so fun.
I just wanted to interrupt you and say that maybe I haven't expressed enough how much you really made an impact on my life as a coach, because what you brought to the table really is what kept me ticking, like things like
Mhm.
that. The relationships that I build with you guys,
Mhm.
um were more meaningful to me than any game that we won or lost or whatever we did, but it's the relationships that I built with the players. And then following up with that, it is for me, I take great pride in what you guys do after you are with me, and what you are up to now, and the project that you're putting yourself into with the Goalie Growth Project. Those things make me want to tear up and cry,
Yeah.
because it's like I got to be a small part of your life, but watching you guys succeed now and what you're up
Yeah.
to now, and just all the things that's what's important to me, and I'm really excited to see where this goes.
Yeah, I'm so excited. And one last little piece of our story that I'm almost interested, cuz this is something that I think about often. So, for those of you who aren't aware, I went to New England College, and I was recruited to go there by Jackie. And I was just in awe of her as a coach. I wanted to work so hard for her. And the summer after my freshman year, I got a phone call that just rocked my world. And that phone call was Jackie letting me know that she had this incredible opportunity to start the inaugural team of this place called the College of Saint Scholastica. And she was letting me know that she was moving to Minnesota, wasn't going to be my coach anymore. And when I have had this bond with this coach, like I've alluded to, it just completely, I don't know how much you remember of the conversation, but
I remember.
I just remember being so heartbroken. I can only imagine how hard that conversation and how hard that choice had to have been for you, because we had these big aspirations and
Yeah.
all of these things, but then you had this great opportunity. And I'll never forget the following year, you came to playoffs. And I remember seeing you at Manhattanville, and I was so freaking excited that you were there. And I just remember I was just on. Like, I swear my pads were a magnet to the puck. Like, it was just incredible. And I remember being so proud, being able to play the game that I played against Manhattanville in front of you, knowing that you weren't my coach anymore, but being able to show you, like, hey, look, I'm still doing this.
Mhm.
I can still perform and compete. And I just hoped so badly that you would be proud of me.
Mhm.
And then, like, 3 years later, when I had my medical red shirt year and all these things, the stars just aligned. And you were always such an out of the box thinker. And I remember this whole situation unfolding where it was like, wait a second, I think that maybe we can make this work. And you were like, we're going to submit this form and we're going to submit this form. And then as heartbroken as I was 3 years prior, I ended up finding out that you were going to be my coach again. And
Yeah.
I literally decided to not graduate college so that I could play for you one more time. And I think that that story is so damn cool.
Yeah.
Not a lot of people know and understand what mental health related medical red shirt years can be and
Hmm.
what they are.
Hmm.
And you were a part of mine. And I got to finish my hockey career
Yeah.
because of you, with you. And that's just such a cool full circle moment.
Yeah. It really was. For me, it was very cool to have that end the way it did because, it was hard. That phone call was hard for me to make, and I'll never forget, I think it was your mom that called me after I had talked to you, to be able to have you come and join me in Duluth at St. Scholastica and really help me get that program started. And I think you were part of that transition piece where we were competitive, but then we kind of got over that hump, and it was right in those early years where it kind of really made that jump for our program to become a winning program. So you're a
Yeah.
big part of that transition, but it was really cool to have you join me for that year and finish up your college career. And it was a lot of fun. Obviously, with that video, you can tell that we had good times.
Yeah. We absolutely did. And they're ones that I try to embody when I'm making my relationships with my goalies now, and really just trying to follow your lead in how you managed your different goalies. Because I also got to see how you handled my goalie partners
Mhm.
and things like that. And so I just appreciate you a lot. And I hope that you know that what you did for me is still impacting hockey today. And it is just really great to be able to touch base with you. And you mean a lot to me. You're one of my parents' favorite people. You're very loved in the state of Maine. And yeah, I super appreciate you taking the time. And I can't wait to see you in February. It's going to
Yeah,
be
it's gonna
super
be
fun.
great.
Yes.
What's your goaltending like?
Um, Ironically, we brought in a goalie who transferred. She played for me her freshman year, and then she got a medical red shirt last year, and decided to finish out her career coming back and playing for me and transferring here. So I really feel she's the best goalie in the country. But she's the best goalie I've ever coached, and she's definitely the most, like, if I were, watching and comparing her to other goalies that we play, she's just hard to beat.